Welcome to the Midland Community Stadium for today's boys varsity lacrosse game between the home team Midland and the visitors Lake Orion Dragons. Midland comes in with a 7-2 record on the season. Just last night they defeated their Saginaw Valley foe Heritage, and Lake Orion enters the game with a 4-3 record. They lost earlier this week to Detroit Country Day, which is a team that Midland also lost to earlier in the season. We're just shortly before game time. Pretty soon there'll be the national anthem, and then the teams will take the field.
Do they have the starting lineups, do they?
For boys lacrosse, they usually don't announce the starting lineups. The starters will go to the center of the field and receive instructions from the referees, but we usually don't announce them.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time we ask that you stand. The privilege of this game was made possible by those who have fought and those that continue to fight for the freedoms we enjoy. Let us honor and respect their efforts and our country by gentlemen removing their caps. Veterans and service members not in uniform may render the military salute. And everyone standing at attention, placing their hands over their hearts
as we proudly sing our national anthem.
By the dawn's early light, what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you.
So I would like to introduce myself. I'm Jonathan Moore. I'm one of your announcers today. I'm the president of the Midland Lacrosse Club and have come to love the sport of lacrosse, and looking forward to sharing this game with you today.
I'm Rallo. Help with play-by-play and a little analysis for the game today. I'm a little novice on the lacrosse situation, but willing to learn, and Jonathan's going to help me out on the process of the game today. Hopefully, I have a real good game today. Get sunshine, no rain.
With a spring sport, it's not always the case. You often find yourselves playing in the cold and rain, sometimes even snow, so it's really nice to have a chance for the teams to play in nice sun, reasonably warm weather. So for those who are not familiar with lacrosse, it's actually the oldest sport in North America. It was invented by the Native Americans. And it's a game that's played with each team having 10 players on the field at a time. And you see that now that the two starting lineups are taking the field to receive some pregame instruction from the referees. And once that's completed, then they'll go to their positions and there'll be a face-off to begin the game.
Three referees to tonight's game will be Jeff Zaluka, David Griffel, and Pat Wilkins. And the head coach for Dow High is Joe Stoudemire, a legend in Millen lacrosse. He pretty much one that started the lacrosse here in town. He is.
Indeed, he started the club in 2005, and then they began competing. That's for youth and as well as high school, and then they began competing in the MHSA in 2011.
I would say it's been very competitive from the onset.
Let's
they have.
play lacrosse.
These two teams last met in 2017. And actually, Midland eked out a slight victory over Lake Orion at that time, but then both programs have been really on the rise since then, winning the regional championships, and last year Midland made it to the Final 8. Lake Orion's been in the Final 4 the last 2 seasons.
It appears that Midland's got a lot of seniors on the team this year.
So now that we've taken the face off, both teams are struggling to pick up a ground ball. And so Midland has gained possession and will advancing the ball into the offensive end, and so they're subbing off some of the defensive players. Got a quick shot on the goal that was saved by the goalie. And now this is called the clear, when the team tries to advance the ball from their defensive end to their offensive end. Midland was able to pick up the ground ball and stop them from having an offensive possession, and now are working the ball back towards their field. So that was a goal by
Ryan Pomeranke, number 5, senior for Midland lacrosse. And do we have an assist on that?
There was an assist, but I didn't catch who it was. We might be able to hear the announcer announce it.
And the one thing I've learned in the last couple weeks is basically, as Jonathan said, there's 10 players on the field, one goalie. You have to play with 3 defenders, 3 attackmen, and 3 midfielders. The midfielders basically have all range on the field, and the attackers and the defenders got to be in specific areas. They cannot proceed into other zones. Is that correct, Jonathan?
Yeah, that's correct, unless another player steps in there to allow them to go across. So after each goal, there's a face-off. So this time there was a technical violation of some kind by Midland, and so Lake Orion was awarded possession. They're now setting up their offense. You notice that some of the players have longer sticks than others. Those are some of the defensive players. You're allowed to have at most 4 of the longer sticks on the field at a time. And so there'll be 3 of those defenders who stay on the field all the time, and then one of them will run on and off depending on whether their team has possession of the ball or not. So there's a shot by number 21 for Lake Orion, Sam Haynes. Midland got possession, is now clearing. Connor Dunlap, number 14, was bringing the ball down the field, and his pass to Ryan Stottlemyre, the attackman, number 4.
Goal.
Yeah, we had an unassisted goal by Ryan Stottlemyre. He's a senior from Dow High. He's planning to. Oh, nope. It must have been a crease violation, so the goal was not allowed.
Yeah, it looked like he hit. It was in the process. He did hit the goal post there.
You're not allowed to enter
inside that crease, correct?
That's correct. You're not allowed to enter the crease area until the ball goes inside the goal, and so he must have accidentally entered the crease before it did. So it's still 1-0 Midland.
What's the usual point structure like on games like this? 15, 12s?
It all depends. Sometimes it's score, and it could be 6-4. More typically, it's around 10 or 12, something like that, and only in the 20s if it's a blowout. Because of the face-off, if you have a really good face-off player who can win almost every face-off, then it's kind of like make it, take it, and so you can have runs of several goals in a row because you can maintain possession if you're able to win the face-off. So you notice that those players on the one side of the 50 are not going over. That's because they're not allowed to, and so they had to stand right at the 50 and try to reach across, while the other team players from the offensive side were able to come up and pick it up.
And if you see in the simulation that the 50 and the 30 are basically the zones that the players are allowed to be in as defenders and attackers.
Yeah, it's basically midfield. The defenders have to stay on one side of the 50, the attackmen stay on the other side of the 50, and the midfielders can go to both. during the clear, like it's happening right now, you have to get it in that box around at the 30-yard line within a certain amount of time. So we just had a goal, by Cal Stearns, who was assisted by number 7, Kyle Ryder.
And Cal Stearns is a senior also. He's a tri-captain of the Midland team. And the second leading scorer on the Midland squad he is. So there looks like their parent timeout.
Yeah, I'm assuming that Lake Orion, I didn't hear it, but I'm assuming Lake Orion called a timeout.
Like 50, clock hasn't stopped.
That must be they must be running a clock for the timeout time, because there should be a lot more time than that left in the quarter.
And how many quarters do we have on that, Jonathan? We're running.
We play 4 periods of 12 minutes each for varsity games, and the clock stops on goals, and then when the ball goes out of bounds and so forth. So each quarter will last a bit longer, but it's officially 12 minutes on the clock.
That must be the 1 minute, the 1 minute timeout.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah,
That's what, yeah, I'm looking down.
I don't remember them normally doing that, but they must be running the timeout clock on the scoreboard.
And here's a replay of the first goal.
Well, that was Kyle Ryder hitting Cal Stearns right there. So that was this goal that just happened, yes. So it was a breakdown the defense to allow a player from Midland to be that close to the goal uncovered. And I think that's why Lake Orion has called timeout, because they want to correct some of the defensive errors that they made.
A little bit about the high school rules. Now, is there a mercy rule in lacrosse?
In the playoffs there is, but not during the regular season. They do have a running clock, so if a team is in a lead by 12 goals or more in the second half, then the clock starts running. So in a sense, that's a mercy. It'll end the game more quickly, but otherwise it doesn't. So we're about to have another face-off after that previous goal. So basically, during the face-off, you'll notice that the players who aren't involved in the face-off are back behind the 30-yard line. And so they're required to stay in that box until one of the players in the face-off area obtains possession, and the ref will call possession, and then they're allowed to cross over the 30. So Will Cooper, who won that face-off, picked up a ground ball, but then quickly lost it. So the two teams are scrumming to pick it up. Connor Dunlap, number 14, was able to pick up a ground ball and is now trying to find an outlet to move the ball before he loses it himself.
And he's like what they call a long midfielder. They call them with the long stick.
Yeah, well, they would say close defense. So the defenders who are staying on the whole time would be referred to as a close defense. And then the one who's running on and off the field on offense and defense is referred to as a long stick midfielder. He's a midfielder because he's going on both sides of the field potentially, but he's a long stick because he's using a defensive stick rather than the stick that's more convenient for
more defensive-minded individual.
That's right. There are also, of course, 2 short sticks who are also playing defense, because you can have 7 players on the defensive side, and counting the goalie.
And most likely those are just the midfielders, the regular midfielders, right?
Yes, but usually they specialize on defense versus offense.
Okay.
So you'll usually sub on defensive midfielders who are more skilled at defending, and then sub on offensive midfielders when you get possession. So Midland was able to obtain possession. They passed ahead to one of their defensive midfielders, who then passed to an attackman, and so you noticed that number 21, it ran off the field. That's because he was a defensive midfielder who got his job done by getting the ball down to the offensive side, to the offensive zone, which is that area below the 30-yard line in between the numbers. So now Midland is setting up their offense. Looks like they're going into a 1-4-1 set, so Cal Stearns is potentially going to dodge from up top. It's called dodging when you run to try to beat your defender. So he passed to Ryan Pomeranke, who took a shot. Another interesting aspect of lacrosse is that when you have a shot and the ball goes out of bounds, the ball is awarded to whichever team had a player who was closest to the ball when it went out. So you'll notice that like number 4 there, even though he had no chance of actually getting the ball, he still ran in that direction so that he would be closest and be awarded the possession when it went out of bounds.
It looks like they got some extra balls on the end line, after the end line, so it doesn't stop play.
That's right.
And
so that was a loose push. So you're not allowed to push a player in the back, and so the defender pushed number 4 down, and so they awarded ball to Midland because of that.
Shot goal.
Yes, Ryan Stoudemire.
What's his second? No, first goal.
First goal because the previous
first one is disallowed.
The previous one was disallowed because of a crease violation. As I think I was about to mention, the first time around we thought he scored. Ryan Stoudemire is a senior, and he's planning to attend the Air Force Academy and play lacrosse.
He was also a team captain on the hockey team that won the state championship for Midland Dow this winter. They did. Big, strong defenseman on that team. He was.
So we had another face-off. Looks like again there was a violation on the Midland face-off player, which is Aiden Wardell, and so the ball was awarded to Lake Orion. Normally the face-off player is often what's called a FOGO, so it's face-off get-off, meaning that he'll do the face-off and then sub off for an offensive or defensive player. So often the face-off specialists focus mostly on that particular skill. So Midland had a chance to clear the ball, but it's called the ride, when the offensive players try to prevent the defensive players from getting the ball down the field, and Lake Orion was successful in knocking the ball out of the Midland player's stick and out of bounds, in which case it belonged to Lake Orion. When it's not when the ball goes out of bounds and it isn't a shot, then the ball is awarded to the team who did not touch the ball last. So that's what happened. The ball was in Midland's stick, the ball got knocked out, it went out of bounds, and so Lake Orion was awarded the ball. So when you're playing defense in lacrosse, you're allowed to use your cross or your stick to check the offensive player who has the ball. You're allowed to check his stick or his gloved hand, which are considered part of the stick, but you're not allowed to hit other parts of his body. So Lake Orion had a chance for a shot, but they lost control of the ball, and it was picked up by a ground ball picked up by Midland. Number 8, Gabriel Malice. Midland has called a timeout because Coach Stoudemire was worried that they were about to lose possession, and so he called a timely timeout to get things settled and have an opportunity to move the ball down the field.
How many timeouts do they have per quarter? Do you know?
Well, it's per half. So each team has 2 timeouts per half.
And just like hockey, the players are running in and off the field on the fly. They are.
That's right.
You cannot come onto the field until the other player is off the field.
Yes, there's a range. I guess it's between the 40-yard lines.
Yeah,
yes,
40-yard lines.
That you're allowed to sub on and off, but you have to wait until the other player comes off before you run on.
Do they have a specific referee or monitoring that at all, or?
No, it's they try to pay attention to it.
Okay.
But they don't. What more likely will be happen if someone runs on too early and they actually have too many players on the field at the same time for a long period of time, then the referees will notice that. It's difficult for them to pay close enough attention to see if someone takes a step on too early or something like that. But often, if the coach notices it, then he'll alert the referees to it. And
the opposing coach.
Yeah, exactly. And then they may pay a little bit closer attention than they would have otherwise. But it's difficult. For varsity games, there's usually 3 referees, and for JV, there's usually 2. And there's a shortage of referees, so it's in general. So it's a difficult job. But we're very thankful for them because by refereeing, they allow us to have the games.
Exactly. We have the same. I'm also a soccer referee for the Michigan High School Association, and last year we had 60 referees, and this year we only got 40. And we have the same thing. 2 usually does JV, 3 on the varsity, and we're lucky sometimes to have 3 on the varsity.
So that was the case. Even though Coach Stottlemyre for Midland called a timeout to set up his clear, his play to move the ball from defense to offense, it ended up not working. They threw the ball away, and one of the Lake Orion players picked up a ground ball and retained possession again.
Potential turnover there.
Yep, number 18 for Lake Orion, Kyler Carson, was quick to the ball and was able to pick up the ground ball and maintain possession. So this is called a dodge. This is where number 4 is running to try to avoid his defender. He ended up taking a shot and was saved by the Midland goalie, Tate Clark. He's a senior. Now Midland's trying to clear the ball. They are struggling to do so, as you can tell, but got past. Ryan Pomeranke picked up the ground ball, passed to Ryan Stottlemyre, who scored a goal. The second goal of the night.
Ryan second. And that was did we give an assist to Pomeranke on that one since it was a direct pass? Or?
Well, so yeah, it's a little bit tricky. Basically, for an assist, I just heard the announcer say it was unassisted. And it's because for there to be an assist, the player who scores can only dodge the goalie, only avoid the goalie. If he has to run by a different player, then there is no assist. And so that was one where I think there was a defender there that Ryan kind of ran past. But that was a little bit borderline. It's somewhat of a judgment call to decide whether or not someone should receive an assist in some cases.
All right, we won that one, no infraction.
Aiden Wardell won that, picked up the ground ball, but then quickly Lake Orion checked his stick and knocked it out, and so now we have a battle to see who can retain possession. Still going. And the ball was picked up by the Midland player. Looked like that was Studebaker maybe. But Midland obtained possession. You have, when you get possession on the offensive side of midfield, you have 10 seconds to get the ball into the box, and so that's what they were just doing. You'll see the players get a touch. That's when you put your foot in the box in possession of the ball, and then pull it back out.
Is that 2 minutes on the field there?
He probably
offside?
No, I'm guessing it was he didn't realize that they had a touch. I thought they did, but maybe they didn't. But you're right. Sometimes with all the players running on and off, you can have some confusion and accidentally get too many players on the field. If it happens when you're on offense, it's just a change of possession. If it happens when you're on defense, then it's a 30-second penalty. We haven't had any of those penalties yet, but when we do, I'm sure we will eventually. A player will, well, I just saw it, so I see there's a flag that's been thrown, so it looks like there's going to be a penalty on Midland, and so the player who committed the infraction will spend some time in the penalty box.
The penalty was on Midland, or a penalty was on Lake Orion?
The reason I think it was on Midland, because it's called a slow whistle, so they don't actually blow the whistle until the offending team gets possession of the ball. And so because he blew the whistle when Midland picked up the ball, I'm pretty sure that this is going to be a penalty on Midland. I didn't pay attention to what the penalty was, but I noticed from his signal that it was a 30. He did that kind of T motion with his arm. That means it's a technical foul, which means it's only a 30-second penalty. And it must have been, okay, yeah, so it was some kind of penalty that wasn't on a specific player, it looks like. Well, no, so it must have been on number 9. Will Cooper is going to serve the penalty. And so I noticed that what Midland is doing here is that, so basically what happens is that Midland is playing down one player, and so they've adjusted their defense to try to play defense 5 against 6. And what they're hoping to do is keep Lake Orion from scoring until the 30 seconds is up. And then what they've done is they've pulled off an attackman and substituted a defensive midfielder into his spot. And so that when the penalty releases, he'll be able to run in from midfield, which is a shorter distance than running in from the sideline. And that's what happened. So they were able to keep Lake Orion from scoring in that 30 seconds, and so the penalty released, and the 6th player, the 6th defender, not counting the goalie, ran in, and now they're back to an even strength situation. Number 4 from Lake Orion scored an unassisted goal. That's Cross Papadelis. And as you noticed, there was a flag as well. It looked like it was probably going to be a hold. I'm not sure.
On Midland?
Yeah, let's see. So it's going to be waved off. So I think that's what it was. It was a hold, which is a 30-second technical. And so when there's a 30-second violation on a scoring play, the penalty is waived off and there's no one has to serve. Yeah, it was a hold. I see now. So since the goal was good, the penalty is waived off, and they'll be playing even strength. If it had been a penalty that required a longer period in the penalty box, like a minute, then it would have been served, even though the goal was scored.
Lake Orion wins that one.
Yes, number 35, Jackson Vasquez, won the faceoff. I think he's a freshman, actually. Let me check. Yes, he's a freshman midfielder, which is it's unusual to have freshmen playing varsity, so he must be a very skilled player. As you see, he's doing fairly well in the faceoff.
Oh.
So it was a pass from Stoudemire to Pomeranke, Ryan Pomeranke, who kind of tried to take a backhand shot and missed the goal, but because Will Cooper from Midland was closest to the ball, went out of bounds.
Right in the middle. Oh.
Received possession. Will tried to pass to a cutting Cal Stearns, who caught it and took a shot, but was off the mark. Again, the same thing. Oh, that was so close. It hit the crossbar. Will passed to Cal, who took a shot, and it bounced and hit across the crossbar and didn't go in.
So Will's what they call a X player back there. Is that what they call him?
Yeah, the position behind the goal is called X, and so you will often want to have a player there so that if there is a missed shot, you're likely to be backing it up. Right now, they don't have anyone at X. Wow, that was nice. So Will Cooper took a shot. It bounced off the goalie, and then Ryan Pomeranke, basically in one motion, picked up the ground ball, and they caught hockeyed it in, because he just kind of hit the ball in rather than catching it and cradling it and shooting it.
Scored by number 5,
Replay.
Ryan Pomeranke, unassisted.
So here we're seeing a replay of the goal. Midland's passing around the exterior. You often will do that to move the defensive around. He then passed to Will Cooper, who was wide open on the crease. He takes a shot. He hit the goalie right in the center, so the goalie didn't have to do much, but then it bounced off of him, and Ryan Pomeranke was in position to put the ball in the goal.
We're in the back door. And Flossie pretty much on that is, play it out wide to make the middle more open. That's the same thing pretty much almost all sports is get that ball to the alleys on the outside and then work it way to the middle. And then as the defenders start to move out, then he opens up the middle.
We just had an unusual situation where the two face-off players, their sticks got locked together when they were doing the face-off. And so they had to pause and get them separated. It's a strange situation. There are strings there, and I don't really know how it happened, though. It's something you don't usually see. You very rarely see that happen. So Will Cooper took that face-off. He won the clamp and pulled the ball back and picked it up, the ground ball himself. So that's a successful face-off win for number 9, Will Cooper. He passed the ball back to, I think it was a defender, and then he
loses it.
Yeah, and so as you see, Midland is still having some trouble clearing the ball, moving the ball from their defensive end to their offensive end. Dawson Studebaker just picked up the ground ball. He's just chucking it, but the ref has called a violation because they took too long to get the ball across midfield.
And how many? You got 10 seconds to get across?
Well, you have 20 seconds to get from your defensive end across midfield, and then 10 more seconds to get from midfield to the box.
To the attacking zone.
Yeah, to the attacking zone. And so depending on where you got possession of the ball, like I think Will got possession of the ball back here, so they actually had 20 seconds to get across midfield. So I was a little surprised that it went away that fast, but so that's the end of the first period. The Midland player was pushing the Lake Orion player out of bounds, hoping to get the ball, but the period ended.
So if he pushes him out of bounds or checks him out of bounds, that's ball your side then?
You're not allowed to check him in the back. You can't push him in the back, but if you push him from the side and he goes out of bounds, then you're rewarded the ball.
A little hip check.
Exactly. So
sure.
So that's the end of the first period with Midland leading 5-1.
Okay, you guys are watching this lacrosse match between Midland Lacrosse and Lake Orion on the MCTV network. MCTV channels can be found on Charter Spectrum, channels 188 through 191, and through your AT&T UVerse channel 99. This game is available to stream in beautiful high definition on Roku, Apple TV, and now Amazon Fire TV devices through the free MCTV network, Community Voices app. Follow MCTV on Facebook to learn more about community media in Midland. Want to watch MCTV Sports on the go? Download the free Cablecast Community Media app for iOS and Android devices to view all local sports, concerts, talk shows, community events, and more.
You will learn how to be a producer.
And with that, we'll go to a short break before we resume for the second period.
Edit your video on professional software, and how to make a podcast. Subscribe.
New hobby? How would you like to create your own television show? Call Midland Community Television at 837-3474 to sign up for our next orientation studio workshop. You will learn how to use a studio camera, learn how to edit on a computer, or even be the host of your very own TV show. Don't wait, sign up today. Call MCTV at 837-3474 to sign up. Midland Community Television, your community voice.
Hi, my name is Anders and I'm here at MCTV Broadcast Camp, and today I learned how to edit. For more information, check out the link below.
Welcome back. We're about to begin the second quarter with a face-off. Each quarter begins with a face-off.
So a scoring recap for the first quarter. We had Ryan Stoudemeyer with 2 goals. Cal Stern for Midland with 1 goal. And Ryan Pomeranke for Midland with 2 goals. The lone goal for Lake Orion was by Vasquez. Cross Papadakis, number 4.
So Lake Orion won that face-off and got off a shot, but it was saved by Tate Clerk, who's cleared the ball ahead to one of the defensive midfielders. That was very nice. That was to number 21, Jed Brown, who got a touch, meaning he got his foot in the box. He's now going to run off the field for an offensive player, most likely.
Jed Brown's a Midland High hockey player also. And they went to the state semifinals.
So that was an assist by Ryan Stoudemeyer and a goal by the other Ryan Pomeranke.
Got the Ryan show right now.
Yep. So Lake Orion's having a lot of success on the ride when they are preventing Midland from get the ball from one end to the other, but they're struggling a bit on settled in on the offense as well as on the defense. They're leaving some guys pretty wide open close to the goal, and it's pretty difficult for the goalie to stop a shot that's happening right in front of him at such short range. So Will Cooper again is taking the face-off for Midland. This time it was against Jameson Ray for Lake Orion. Dawson Studebaker got the ground ball. Someone's coming up from behind. We call that a wolf when you have a defensive player coming up on you from behind. He passed ahead to Ryan Stoudebaker, Ryan Pomeranke, who was not able to make the catch, and Lake Orion has taken possession of the ball. They were able to successfully clear because they got the ball at the offensive zone. And now we're setting up their offense. So that number 15 for Lake Orion, the long pole ran off, and he's the long stick midfielder who was substituted with a short stick offensive player.
So how long can he stay in that zone where he's at? It seems like it's more than 10 seconds, pretty much.
Yeah, so once you get your touch, then there's no more timing. So as long as you have possession, there's no shot clock or anything like that in high school lacrosse. And so once you get your touch, then you're free to pull the ball out. So shot by, it looks like number 18 maybe? Kyle Carson, I think. Eventually, if you're not attacking the goal, then the ref technically can call stalling and tell you that you have to take it into the box and keep it in the box. And so that gives the defensive team a better opportunity, but that rarely happens. Until it gets to the end of the game, you're pretty much free to take your time.
Cross ball there. Picked it right back up, though.
Good defense there by Tucker Pomeranke, number 12. There was a slide. That's what you call when another defender comes over. You call that a slide. Looks like he's going to get called for a foul.
Cross check, maybe.
I think it's going to be a hold.
Hold.
Yeah. You can't hold the other player's body with your stick. No, it's a slash, so it's going to be probably a 1 minute penalty.
1 minute slash.
So that was a 1 minute penalty on Daniel Watkins for slash. That means he used his stick and hit the body of the other player in a location that you're not allowed. You're not allowed to hit anything except for the stick or the gloved hand.
1 minute for slash.
Sometimes an accidental contact with other part of the body will be allowed with a warning or something like that, but in that case he was penalized for a slash. So now Midlands is in man down situation. Lake Orion is man up, but this time it will be a 1 minute penalty. Lake Orion is running their man-up offense. They're getting a lot of motion, moving the players around, trying to get the defense out of position. You often look for a skip pass, so you have a pass that sort of skips the guy in between to a player on the other side and has an opening to take a shot.
Sigmund's doing a great job of focusing on being a man right now. They are.
Yeah, you basically, because you have fewer defenders and offensive players, you kind of play out on the ball and then sink back in when the ball goes away. But number 4, Cross Papadelis again on that man-up goal. We call it a man-up goal when you score a goal when you have an extra player on the field. And so then because the goal was scored, the penalty is released, and we'll be back to playing even strength now.
Cross Papadella, assist to number 21, Sam Haynes.
And here comes replay on that as they run around the...
So let's see what happened. So basically the defender just didn't get out on him. Number 21, Jed Brown. He left he didn't close once the number 4 caught the ball, he needed to close the distance and play close defense, and because he didn't, the player, they call that getting your hands free when you get your hands free to take a shot unimpeded. So on this face-off, Lake Orion has gotten possession, and one of the long poles is carrying the ball down. He got a touch, can't see the number, but the Lake Orion player with a short stick got a touch by getting in the box. Nice play by Connor Dunlap. He was able to hit the Lake Orion player's stick to prevent him from picking up the ground ball, and then Midland gets possession. So again, this is what's called the clear, where Midland's trying to get the ball down the field from their defensive end to their offensive end. Let's see if they've been able to solve the problem they've been having so far, and this time they do. They're able to successfully get a touch and set up on their offensive end.
Set up in their offense right now.
So Ryan Stottlemyre is dodging from X. He hits Ryan Pomrenk. He tries to pass to Cal Stearns, but who was in traffic, was not able to make the catch. And Lake Orion defender number 58, Justin Giacolone, picked up a ground ball. You see, he passed back to his goalie, and so now the goalie's going to come up. And because essentially the goalie's an extra player, no one's guarding him. Because another Lake Orion player came across midfield, the goalie is allowed to cross. And so this is an unusual situation for the goalie to go down the field.
All the way, too.
Yeah. He passed off to his teammate who took a shot, but it was missed.
How often do you see that in the game?
That's very rare for a goalie to cross midfield, partially because it's very risky
Right, exactly.
for the goalie to be that far down the field.
And he's got 70, 80, well, almost 80 yards to run back. He does if they lose control or possession of the ball.
So it's a very exciting play when it happens, especially because sometimes the goalie will take it to the goal and take the shot of itself, and it's a rare occasion that's pretty exciting when it happens.
Oh, he was pretty happy as he was running down the field. You can tell.
So again, Midland wasn't very careful with the ball and lost possession. Lake Orion picked it up in 25. Midland offensive players are riding hard. They're trying to prevent Lake Orion from trying to give Lake Orion some of their own medicine, but they were not successful. Lake Orion was able to move it down.
Good defensive play.
Another ground ball by, I think that Dunlap? Yep, Connor Dunlap got another ground ball, but then quickly lost possession. Lake Orion got it back. So now Lake Orion has 10 seconds to get the ball, get a touch. They haven't done it yet. I don't think they realize that they need to get a touch. Now he does. Because they had possession but then lost possession, then we're in a new situation where they had to get a touch.
Want to be touched into the offensive zone, the attack zone?
Yeah, once you step your foot in that zone, then the timer is off and you're free to take your time to set up your offense. It's number 4 with a nice dodge, gets himself open, takes a shot, but it was saved.
No save.
Kyle Ryder picked up the ground ball, and now he's trying to we call that the one-man clear, where a player runs down the field himself, carrying the ball from one end to the other. like he maybe got a hit there. He's on the ground. Ryan Pomeranke's getting a touch. Pass to Stottlemyre, who tried to hit Zastro. Yeah, Zastro on the crease, and looks like it's going to be a penalty on Lake Orion probably. The referees are going to talk to each other to decide what the correct call is, looks like.
Slash?
Yep, 1 minute slash on a Lake Orion player. So again, making contact with the other player's body, illegal contact to the other player's body with your stick.
Lake Orion penalty, number 32, A.J. Likes, 1 minute for slashing.
So Midland will have a one-player advantage for a minute.
The penalty was on number 32, A.J. Lights of Lake Orion.
Cal Stearns just did it all. That was so nice. I hope we see a replay of this.
That's quick.
Cal Stearns did a fake pass. So he made the motion of a pass, but he turned his stick so the ball stayed in his stick. The defense thinks he passed, and so they turn their head, and then he takes the shot. Okay. That was a very nice play by Cal.
Midland goal, Cal Stearns. Number 16, Cal Stearns, unassisted.
So here it comes. So you see Stottlemyre passes to Cal Stearns. He does a fake pass. The ball is still in his stick. The defense looks away, and he takes an underhand shot and puts it right in the goal. That was very nice by Cal.
Then on the face-off of that one, I believe it's 2 in a row.
Aiden Wardell, successful face-off. He passed to Ryan Pomeranke, who gets the touch, and then sub-off offense for defense. And now the offensive midfielders are coming on the field. Cal Stearns and Eli Elza and Kyle Ryder.
They scored that last goal, 9 seconds it took them to score that last goal.
Wow.
Oh,
nice
beautiful
pass.
pass.
Oh, but good play. Even better play by the defense, yeah.
Yeah, broken up.
Goalie picked up the ground ball, and now he's slinging it out to number 21 to try to make the clear. It's a big advantage when the goalie can move the ball that quickly to a player because the defense doesn't have a chance to get set up on the ride. Took a shot, but it was interfered with by the defensive player, and Connor Dunlap picked up the ground ball. Oh, then they were not careful with the ball and threw it away. So it's back. Ball's back to Lake Orion again. He's going to try to push him out of bounds. He didn't quite get it. So now Lake Orion gets a touch, and they're set up their offense. There's a dodge by number 3. That's Tyler Baker. Tucker Pomeranke's playing some nice defense, and so he's moved the ball. Orion's being patient now. A dodge by 40. He takes a shot. Saved by Tate Clerk. Picks up the ground ball. It's going to look for now. It looks like Kyle Ryder has been injured, so he's going. Midland's at a little bit of a disadvantage right now because one of their players, I guess he's going to go down and hopefully get a whistle to stop play. So I was going to mention earlier that you mentioned that Joe Stottlemyre is kind of a legend in lacrosse in the Midland area, but actually the coach from Lake Orion is really a giant, a legend in all of Michigan for lacrosse. His name is Ron Hebert. He played at Michigan State in the early 70s. He was then a coach, high school coach, and won state championships at both Cranbrook and Brother Rice, which especially Brother Rice is a powerhouse lacrosse school in Michigan. And then he actually, many folks may not know this, but Northwood University here in Midland had a varsity men's lacrosse team that competed in Division II, NCAA Division II in the 90s. And so actually Ron Hebert, the coach for Lake Orion, was the coach of that team in the 90s. And then he, after that, at the university discontinued the lacrosse team. Then he went back to coaching high school lacrosse. And so he coached for many years at Notre Dame Prep in Pontiac, and then in 2018 moved to Lake Orion and had immediate success, taking them, as I mentioned earlier, to regional championships as well as the Final Four. So he's really, I think he's 70 years old. He's been involved in Michigan and lacrosse for 50 years from his college days until now. So he's really a
As a legend.
Yeah.
Yep. It's a system, you know. He has a system, and it works. That's the biggest thing when you're a coach, and you can have the kids bang in on your system, and if you have a good system, it'll work anywhere, any level.
So Midland had a chance to catch the ball there on the crease, but the defender did a nice body check and knocked the ball loose. Lake Orion brought the ball down the field quickly and got off a shot, but it was saved by Tate. Oh, there was like a push in the back. They didn't call it, though, and so Connor Dunlap got the ground ball. Now we're going to get a penalty. I don't know if that's going to be a slash. It must be a slash that's going to be called, I'm guessing. As soon as Lake Orion gets possession, they'll blow the whistle.
So does it matter, like, okay, you said slash. Is there a 30-second slash or a 1 minute slash? It's just a 1 minute slash, 1 slash?
It's a 1 minute, or it could be more. If it's deemed to be more severe, like, for example, to the head,
right,
you might have a longer penalty, like 2 minutes. But a slash is always going to be at least 1 minute.
Lake Orion penalty, number 22, Luke Gannon. 1 minute for slashing.
Yep, it was a slash. So
it's a 1 minute penalty at 3:10 of the second quarter by Lake Orion, Luke Gannon. So we're on the power play, as we would say in hockey.
Yeah, man up is what we would say in lacrosse. Yeah, extra man opportunity. Shot by number 4, Ryan Stadelmeyer, who missed, but Eli Elza did a good job of backing up the shot. This could be a situation because usually in our man up, in Midland's man up offense, they don't have a player at X, and so it can be tricky for the players to remember that they got to back up the shot. Shot by Cal Stearns.
Off the post, was that?
Yes, it was off the post. Rebounded out, back out, and Ryder Zastro picked up the ground ball. Working the ball around, moving the defense around, looking. That's a skip pass there. But he wasn't open for the shot, didn't take it now. So underhand shot by Cal Stearns, number 16, with another goal. Usually, so I've known Cal Stearns for many years. He was a year younger than my youngest son, and so my kids played with him, and I also coached him. And it's in youth lacrosse, when players are first starting to play, we always teach them to shoot overhand because it's much easier to get your shot on target. That was a situation where he shot underhand, but because he's a very skilled player, he's very skilled at taking that shot. So is that Cal's third goal, I believe? Is that what you have?
Yep. It's got the last 2.
Face-off win for Lake Orion. Number 38, C.J. Witt picked up the ground ball. It's a face-off win for number 7,
going
Jameson
right to the
Ray.
net.
Wow. Now they're double teaming him. Look what's happened. Looks like Lake Orion called a timeout.
Is there a 2 minute warning in the?
Nope, it just happens to be the case that Lake Orion called a timeout at exactly that moment. I suspect that as I mentioned, they were the face-off player was running off the field, and so Midland was taking advantage of that opportunity to double team the player with the ball, and so I suspect that Lake Orion noticed that, decided to use the timeout in order to be able to maintain possession.
So for some reason, the stadium clock's still running.
Unless it's a 2 minute timeout, was it? But they were doing a minute timeouts earlier, right? I don't
Right,
know.
yeah.
They'll correct it if it's not supposed to be running. Speaking of the coaches, as we talked about earlier, it's actually interesting. This is a very interesting matchup because it's the 2 most recent Coach of the Year winners. So Coach Joe Stadelmeyer from Midland was the boys lacrosse Division I Coach of the Year last year when Midland won their first regional championship. And the previous season, which was actually 2019 due to COVID, Coach Ron Hebert from Lake Orion was the Coach of the Year. So we have the 2 most recent coaches of the year facing off against each other today. So now Lake Orion will resume possession of the ball. It should be down probably in the alley, but down so on the edge of the field, but down by the goal. It looks like they're going to start behind the goal maybe, because that's where the ball was when the timeout was called.
So you call that like a 3-1-2 offense? Now 1-3-2?
Yeah, it's very common to refer, like earlier I was thinking that Midland was going to go into a 1-4-1 offense. You very commonly have offenses that are named based on the arrangement, the locations of the players. But in lacrosse, you'll see a lot of movement, so you really don't want your players standing still. You want them moving around so that the defense has to pay attention to them and can't focus on just on the guy on the ball. So number 4 has brought the ball out. He's going to dodge against the long pole there, LSM number 19. Pass it up high. Gabriel Malice is now interfering with number 40, but he was able to pick up the ground ball. You normally want to dodge against the short pole because it's more difficult for the short pole to play defense compared to a long pole. But you saw there that number 14 for Midland was looking to slide and come help out on defense if the short stick defender had trouble there. Shot by number 21. That's Sam Haynes for Lake Orion. Again across. Papadelis was dodging there against the long pole. Evan Kronowski. Lake Orion's getting their passes a little bit high, but at least they're doing a good job of catching them. Passing and catching is critical in lacrosse. If you can't maintain possession like that, you're going to have trouble.
Penalty.
Yeah, it's going to be a hold on Tucker Pomranke. He did a one-handed stick check, which is okay, but then he wrapped his arm around the offensive player, and so it's going to be called a hold. You're not allowed to impede the other player like that. So it'll be a 30-second penalty on Tucker Pomranke, so Lake Orion will be man up for 30 seconds. Looks like we're at 42 seconds left in the period, so...
And a half.
Yeah, in the second period, the first half, and so Lake Orion's going to look to score a goal
30
before
second
the
technical,
halftime
hold
runs
with
out.
possession. Time of the call, 42 seconds.
Notice that even though Midland is playing man down, they're still guarding number 4. So number 21 is face guarding number 4. So they're intentionally trying to take him out of the play and playing 5-on-4 with the other players. And typically the offense is okay with that because there's less space. It's easier. With more space, with fewer players around the goal, there's more space, which is to the advantage of the offense. So it's sort of a strategic play by Midland to face guard him and a strategic play by Lake Orion to just go ahead and pull him away from the goal. Penalty's released, and Lake Orion took a shot but missed, and so we're now back to even strength for the last few seconds of the half. Hoping to get a shot off. Oh, nice dodge, but it looks like they're going to have difficulty getting a shot off before the period ends.
Yeah, that's halftime.
Score is Midland 8, Lake Orion 2. It's been a pretty good battle. Lake Orion has struggled to defend near the goal and as well as to get good offensive opportunities for themselves.
And for most or partial of that half, Midland Lacrosse had issues getting into the attack zone. They did.
Yeah, they were pretty efficient once they got it there, but they had trouble getting it there to start with.
The MCTV network is the hub for local sports action. Visit www.cityofmidlandmich.gov/MCTV for more information. Catch replays and on-demand video of college, high school football, hockey, basketball, soccer, and more. Don't forget to follow MCTV on Facebook to get up-to-date information about upcoming events on MCTV. The coverage of this game is being produced by MCTV volunteers and staff. If you'd like to help create coverage of games like this one, sign up for our media creator workshops. You will learn how to be a producer, create a studio program, use a professional video cameras, edit your video on professional software, and how to make a podcast. Subscribe to the City of Midland's Media Workshop calendar to get the notifications on upcoming workshops. More information can be found at www.cityofmidland.mi.gov/MCTV.
Thank you, Rollo. And with that, we'll go to a break during the halftime, and we'll be back shortly for the second half.
Your local public access facility gives you the opportunity to engage your community with your own television show. The content on our Community Voices channel ranges from talk shows, variety hours, and nonprofit informational specials. With the power of video continuing to gain steam, there's no better facility to produce your own content. Check out the City of Midland website or give us a call for more information. The sooner you do, the sooner you can make your own show.
Hi, I'm Wes. I'm here at MCTV Broadcasting Camp. This week, I learned how to be a technical director. To learn more and get involved, click this link below.
Where there's an issue, where there's a challenge, where there's an opportunity, MCTV is a main component of bringing people together, to work together, to talk together, to dream together, to visualize together, and to implement things that are good for the quality of life in our community.
With the MCTV network, you can share your story through television, online video, social media, and podcasts. Since 1984, MCTV has provided public access to television for the people and organizations of Midland. This hasn't changed. However, there are many other ways for you to reach your audience wherever they are and whenever they want. Call 837-3474 for details. Follow us on Facebook and search for MCTV Community Voices on YouTube or podcast platforms for more local stories. Join us to build a better community through media at MCTV.
Your local public access facility gives you the opportunity to engage your community with your own television show. The content on our Community Voices channel ranges from talk shows, variety hours, and nonprofit informational specials. With the power of video continuing to gain steam, there's no better facility to produce your own content. Check out the City of Midland website or give us a call for more information. The sooner you do, the sooner you can make your own show.
Hi, my name is Callum and I'm here at MCTV. This week I'm learning how to be a sports reporter. If you want to learn how you can get involved, check out the info below.
I had an interest in producing programs, and Midland Community Television was a perfect outlet for that, and has been for the last 30 years. A way for somebody to become involved with the production of television programs and saying what you want to say, showing what you want to show with very few limits on it, and then having that actually be produced and sent out to the community at large.
Midland Community Television has exciting news for Midland area nonprofits. Recently, MCTV has undergone changes both technologically and organizationally to help you share your story better and reach your audience wherever they are. Our new services include public service announcements, special event recordings, audio podcasts, YouTube video, live TV broadcasts streamed online, and more. Call 837-3474 for details. Follow us on Facebook and search for MCTV Community Voices on YouTube or podcast platforms for more local stories. Join us to build a better community through media at MCTV.
Hi, my name is Eli, and I am here at MCTV this week at camp, and I learned how to be a replay operator. To learn how you can get involved, check out this information in the description.
Your local public access facility gives you the opportunity to engage your community with your own television show. The content on our Community Voices channel ranges from talk shows, variety hours, and nonprofit informational specials. With the power of video continuing to gain steam, there's no better facility to produce your own content. Check out the City of Midland website or give us a call for more information. The sooner you do, the sooner you can make your own show.
Welcome back to the second half of the Midland Lacrosse Lake Orion Dragons game. A little bit on the scoring for the second quarter. At 11:16 for Midland Lacrosse, Ryan Stoudemire. Then at 5:46, a man up, Cal Stern for Midland Lacrosse. And the third goal in the second quarter for Midland Lacrosse was Cal Stern again at 2:21 with a man up. The one goal by Lake Orion was at 8:51 by Cross Papadelis. We had 2 penalties by Lake Orion and 1 by our Midland Lacrosse team that period.
So we're about to have the opening face-off for the second half. Lake Orion is presumably have gone back to their plans and tried to come up with a scheme to do a better job of possessing the ball in offense and getting some better shots.
And like 21-7 on that, Jonathan, and the guys on that's also called an alley of some sort.
They're the wing players. So they're the wing players on the face-off. They're required to stand behind that line until the ref blows the whistle on the face-off.
Yeah, so they cannot impede until until they have connection with the ball, or when he blows his whistle, they can.
As soon as he blows the whistle, they can run to the ball, but they're not supposed to impede each other. Yeah, they're supposed to allow each player. No, they'll try to get away with it, but they're supposed to allow each other to run freely until they get within 5 yards of the ball. That's when you're allowed to box somebody out. So that was a face-off win by number 7, Jamison Ray. Won that pretty cleanly, and so Lake Orion's getting a possession right away. Looking to get on the scoreboard a little bit more this half to make this game a little bit more, score a little bit more competitive.
Well, we've had real good saves by our goalie to keep us at our 8-2 advantage.
Yeah,
I believe
Tate Clark has done an excellent job.
He's had at least 4 or 5 saves, I believe.
So number 3 for Lake Orion is dodging against Tucker Pomeranke. He got off his shot. He got his hands free. He got off his shot, but it was high over the goal. Lake Orion maintains possession because they were closest to the ball when it went out of bounds. I noticed that Midland's defense is kind of pressing out to pressure Lake Orion, which is good as long as you can avoid having him run around you and beat you on the dodge. It's good to be able to harass them like that and try to force a turnover, force a mistake. It's a nice pass. Wow, bounce shot. That ball seemed to come out a little bit odd, but number 20, is it 20 or 21? 21. Number 21 for Lake Orion caught the pass from X and took a bounce shot. Took a bounce shot, and that's difficult for the goalie because he's tracking the ball going low, then it hits the ground and bounces up high, and so it's very common for bounce shots to be successful because it's difficult for the goalie to track the direction of the ball.
Sam Haynes. Assist to number 14, Brady Drury.
So much easier is it to play on turf than it is regular grass field? I mean, especially for the goalkeepers, probably easier.
The biggest difference is for the players picking up the ground ball. It's much more difficult to pick up a ground ball on grass because of the uneven surface, whereas it's a lot easier on turf.
Probably 90% of the fields you guys play are on turf nowadays?
These days, yeah, it's more unusual to play on grass. It still is the case, and it's often, I think it's an advantage for teams that do play on grass because they're used to it.
Right. That's what we find out in soccer when you get to the regionals. All games are played on turf. Well, if you haven't played on turf, that ball rolls so much faster on turf than it does on grass, and it's tough to get used to it. The bounce off the turf is so much different. There's so much a bigger bounce off a punt or a kick like that.
So looked like there was a loose push on Lake Orion that gave the ball to Midland, and they were able to advance the ball into their offensive zone. And now they're subbing it. They said they subbed off a defensive midfielder, and number 9, Will Cooper's running on.
Looks like number 18 for Lake Orion has a small wound there, maybe.
So it's a little bit of an unusual situation that Will Cooper, who often takes face-offs, is also coming on the field to play offense. And because when a face-off player, because of the way he clamps the ball and tries to protect it and so forth, usually the head of the stick is deformed during face-off, and so it's difficult to play offense with a face-off stick. And so what will happen is Will run off the field and swap sticks. He'll leave his face-off stick on the sidelines and play with a different stick when he's playing offense. So again, oh wow.
Loss of possession.
Yeah, Lake Orion was doing their subbing offense for defense for offense, but they were not careful with the ball and lost, had a bad pass and catch, and then went out of bounds, and so Midland gets possession. Setting up their offense now. Ryan Stottlemyre is dodging an X against number 20 with a long pole, looking for someone to pass to. It's often advantageous for the offensive team to dodge from X because then you have the defense looking down at that player, or tempted to look down at that player and perhaps losing track of the player they're supposed to be guarding. You see all those defenders looking down at X. They might lose track of the player that they're actually supposed to guard. Now it looks like Cal Stearns is setting up a dodge to his left, then making a pass to Ryan Stottlemyre, who was not able to catch it. The goalie picked up the ground ball, and now Lake Orion's looking to clear. Oh, this is going to be nice. Well, he overthrew it, but then the attackman was able to come forward.
Look like the midfielder really didn't see it. It was over his head there, and he looked back, couldn't find it.
Yeah, good for Lake Orion that the attackman was paying attention, and so he was able to anticipate. So I'm sure that the Midland coach isn't happy about that because he wants his defender to also be paying attention and to move up there. And what you try to do is you try to hit the stick of the other player when they try to catch it to interfere with the catch. And so that's what Midland coaches would have wanted to have happened, is for the Midland defender to check the stick of that player when he went to catch it, but he wasn't paying close enough attention. So that's Cross Papadelis.
Right in the middle.
Cross Papadelis there, who has Lake Orion's 2 goals. Well, they have 3 goals now, so he has 2 of their 3 goals. Who was the 3rd goal by? You have that?
Luke.
Oh, the
no,
20.
wait, it was Luke Gander.
I think it was 21. Sam Haynes, maybe.
Sam Haynes.
Okay,
yep.
yeah.
That's
So
correct.
now Midland is looking to clear, passing ahead to Will Cooper there, who's now trying to advance the ball into the offensive zone. He hasn't got into the box yet, so the refs are still counting. But now they've moved the ball in, and so they got their touch, and now they can set up their offense. Cal Stearns now has the ball. He's taking it to X. Wow.
Nice quick pass, but
that was very nice. Wow.
Yeah.
So he crossed the pass across the crease. That's a little bit of a dangerous pass because the goalie, if he sees it, can stick his stick out and intercept it, but he didn't. Then Ryan Pomeranke caught the ball. Unfortunately, I don't think Ryan Stoudemire got an assist there because Pomeranke did a little bit of a dodge around the defender, but it was a very effective play. So you see here there was a pass to Stoudemire. It was basically a no-look pass across to Ryan to Ryan.
Yep.
Pomeranke basically had a point-blank shot that he put in the goal. That was very nice. Very good look by Ryan Stoudemire.
Now we're back to live action.
I think that was Ryan Pomeranke's third goal. According to my stats here, I think we have three. Midland has 3 goals each by Ryan Stoudemire, Ryan Pomeranke, and Cal Stearns. That's correct.
You guys call those hat tricks also?
Yeah, they do call those hat trick.
Okay. Happens a lot more in lacrosse.
So Tucker Pomeranke got the touch, and now he's subbing off, and Cal Stearns took a shot. It was blocked by the goalie, who picks up the ground ball. Now looking to clear. The goalie is allowed to keep
another one over.
Yeah, he's there because they haven't been very successful in the clears. He's trying to get the ball down the field, but they
missed the man by about 10 yards.
Yeah, not making a good connection.
Last 2.
What I was about to say is that the goalie is allowed to hold the ball in the crease for 4 seconds before he has to step out of the crease or pass it. And so you'll notice the goalie. A lot of times, what you'll notice is the goalie will come out of the crease but go behind the goal, so that if a defender comes against him, he can kind of run around the crease to use that as an obstacle. But otherwise, he's
just
got
like
to.
in hockey, they can use that net too.
Right, he's got to pass or bring it out.
There we go, another goal.
Yep, unassisted by Ryan Stoudemire, his 4th of the night. So obviously, this game is getting a little bit out of hand for Lake Orion. They haven't really solved their defensive problems.
Here comes replay.
So Ryan Pomeranke passed to Ryan Stoudemire at X. He's looking for someone to pass. See the number 27? He was going up high to guard someone else. Ryan Stoudemire noticed that,
wide open,
and went on around and took the shot.
Smart player.
He was like, if you're not going to respect me and guard me, I'm just going to step right up and take it. So that was a very nice recognition by Ryan Stoudemire that the defender was sliding up to guard someone else.
Another win by Mellon Lacrosse for the
Hayden Wardell with that win. And then Ryan Stoudemire was able to get the ground ball, so Midland gets another possession. He tried to pass it to Will Cooper, but it was a little bit off target and went to the goalie. So now the goalie looks like he's going to walk it up like he did earlier in the game.
So it'd be beneficial to attack him?
Well, potentially, but when you do, because of the odd number.
Player, I get it.
Yeah,
but like they just did there, straight up the middle.
So there was a shot by a long pole, right? Number 20, I think, took that shot, and it was saved by Tay Clerk. What will often happen is once the goalie gets in front of the player, then he'll go up and attack him. But otherwise, you tend to want to stay on your own man because otherwise the goalie knows exactly who to pass to. The man that you left open to go guard him.
And to do that, you got to be a player that basically recognizes all the players on the field where they're at. Most likely they work on that in practice too.
Yep. So Cal Stearns dodging. He passed to Stoudemire, who takes a shot. That was quite high.
A whistler.
Sometimes we call those possession shots, where you take a shot that's kind of wild, but you know that you're going to get possession, so it's not that big of a deal because you have someone there to back it up.
Had some power on that one, looked like.
Yep. Ooh, a little trouble handling that pass, but he's able to.
Setting up the offense.
Wow, Will Cooper, nice. Yeah. He hit Cal Stearns.
Cal Stearns with another one.
Goal by Cal Stearns, his 4th, and assist by Will Cooper. Same kind of breakdown that Lake Orion's been having, where they've been leaving players uncovered on the crease.
Midland goal scored by number 16.
So you see there, Pomeranke to Cooper, who hit Cal Stearns cutting across, and he just put it on the
buried it
right on the pipe there on that side.
Crossed.
Very difficult for a goalie to stop a shot that's coming from that close range.
And especially going across his body too.
Yep. So the Lake Orion player moved too early. You're not allowed to move until the whistle blows, and so he kind of flinched, and so that was a violation and gives the ball to Midland. Now they're setting up their offense. Ryder Zastro, number 10, has just come onto the field, and Cal Stearns is dodging from up high. Does a little roll, takes a shot. It's going to be a flag down. Looks like probably a slash. That would be my guess. Yep, number 35 for Lake Orion was called for a slash. So Midland will be man up once again.
Jackson Vasquez.
1 minute penalty.
And Bill Lacrosse is on them. He's man up.
They've been pretty successful these days. You want to take advantage of the man-up opportunities and put the ball in the goal. So far, they've done fairly well. That was a risky one. They passed there into traffic, and Cal Stearns had a little bit of trouble handling it. Off the post. Will Cooper got it fed from Stoudemire.
Oh, nice check. There should be a penalty by number 5.
Looks like they're going to call a push, maybe a loose push. So it's not. Oh nope. They called something on Midland. So
yeah, number 5.
Okay.
Yeah. It was from behind. It was just a foul from behind.
Right. I was thinking they were going to call something on that first.
Got 2 minutes on the field, or where a timeout?
No, I think it's a timeout by Lake Orion. Looks like.
Their first.
Each team, as I mentioned previously, each team gets 2 timeouts per half, so I think Lake Orion will have 1 more.
Do you have a story to tell? Are you looking for a free speech, public forum for your voice to be heard? The Midland Community Television Network is here for you. Individuals, nonprofits have been using MCTV for 37 years to share ideas, promote services, raise funds, and build a greater sense of community in the Midland area. If you're interested in learning a new skill, promoting your club or nonprofit, hobby, creating a podcast or YouTube video, or are looking to volunteer, please give MCTV a call at 989-837-3474 to find out how you can join us.
So another interesting similarity between these two teams is that they have some alumni who are playing Division I lacrosse in Michigan at the University of Detroit Mercy. So for Midland, I'm not sure about Lake Orion. I suspect that it's also the case for Lake Orion, but I know it's the case for Midland that it's their first alumnus to play Division I lacrosse.
Okay.
It's Chase Mahabier from Midland High School.
He was a beast.
Yeah.
I coached him in youth soccer, and he was doing push-ups when he wasn't on the field practicing.
That sounds like Chase for sure. So Chase is a freshman playing lacrosse at Detroit Mercy. There's what I think is probably Lake Orion's first Division I player was a 2019 graduate, Kyle Loken. And so they're teammates at Detroit Mercy. And there's actually 2 other 2021 graduates from Lake Orion on that team as well. Kyle Loken's brother, Caden, as well as another Lake Orion player. So there's 4 players from these 2 teams who are playing together at Detroit Mercy. So after the timeout, Lake Orion started with the ball, and number 21, Sam Haynes, was able to bring it down there. Oh, so what's happening now is because Lake Orion still has a player in the box, they were trying to just hold possession of the ball
until the player got out.
And so Midland double teamed him, and then I'm not sure what happened. Something happened, and now Midland has the ball back. Lake Orion was hoping to just, we call it kill the penalty, meaning you hold the ball on your offensive end until you get your extra player back out of the box. Well, nice pass, number 5, Pomeranke, who took a shot point blank, but it was saved by the Lake Orion goalie, who's now looking
There
to
you go,
quickly
nice
clear
pass.
it. This is a little bit better. Yep, well,
Oh,
but didn't
couldn't
make the
handle it.
connection.
Oh, instead of taking the ball, he went for the body there.
Yeah, that's pretty common that you might want to box out a player, especially if you have a teammate nearby. One player would take the body while your teammate picks up the ball. In that case, there wasn't a teammate, so it's a little bit of a judgment whether you should just go straight for the ball or try to box him out before you do so. Cal Stearns now has possession of the ball, and he's passed to Ryan Stoudemire, who takes to the goal, takes a shot but misses. That was interesting. Number 20 had the backup, but he didn't continue chasing the ball, and so it looked to me like maybe the Midland player actually got behind him before it went out of bounds. But regardless, Lake Orion was awarded possession. He's one of the players who tried to pass it back to the goalie, but Ryan Pomeranke intercepted it. Now he's going to have a one-on-one with the goalie and puts it in.
Goal.
Very nice play by Ryan Pomeranke to intercept that pass between the defender and the goalie and then put it in. That's his fourth as well, right? So, yeah, Midland is continuing with those three players, Stoudemire, Pomeranke, and Stearns, with 4 goals each to sum to 12.
Were they still a man up on that one?
I'm not sure. It might have still been. It's hard to tell now because it would have released anyway with the goal. But
we don't have a penalty clock up there either.
We don't.
To look at.
Another face-off. There's a violation on Aiden Wardell, so Lake Orion gets possession. That was again Jackson Vasquez, the freshman, taking that face-off for Lake Orion. Aiden was able to knock the ball loose from Jackson's stick, and so then Tucker Pomeranke picked up the ground ball. He's taking it down. Tried to pass to Stoudemire, but it was a little bit high. Normally Stoudemire would have made that catch, but he was probably looking to see where he was going to go after he caught it, and it got past him and went out of bounds. And so because it was a pass rather than a shot, the ball belongs to Lake Orion.
I thought the sun got in his eye.
It's possible that does happen.
Especially this time with the sun coming down.
I know that Coach Stoudemire tells the players to notice the shadow. And so if the shadow is pointing towards the guy you're passing to, you have to be careful about that because that means that he's looking into the sun. So Lake Orion was able to clear, and so now they're setting up on offense. Again, where Midland's playing very aggressive defense out there, harassing up. Is going to get a little bit too aggressive. Going to have a slash on Daniel Watkins, I believe. Yep, slash. I'm sure he thinks he was just playing good defense. It's a little bit of a judgment call for the ref to determine whether it was just good aggressive defense or if he was a little too aggressive with his stick or with his body. In that case, the ref thought he was too aggressive with his stick and called a slash.
Time of the call, 1:23.
So Lake Orion will have a man-up opportunity for up to 1 minute.
I feel like the replay.
It's kind of hard to tell whether he made, how much contact he made with his stick on the body.
Back to live action.
So as you notice, the Midland players will come out and pressure the ball, and then when the ball moves, they sink back in to help because they have one less player. They have to they can't play man-to-man like they often normally do. But again, Midland's face guarding number 4, and so he's staying away from the play to open up the space for his teammates. But you notice number 21 will sink back in. Yep, that's Connor Dunlap with that call. Oh, but then he threw it away. That's so frustrating for a player or a coach to make such a good play and then not be careful with the ball and turn it right back over.
Connor was another one of those members of the Dow High hockey team that won the state championship earlier this spring.
What Midland really wanted to do again there was get possession and then hold it until the penalty expired, but they overthrew the player and the ball came back to Lake Orion. Number 21 takes a shot. Nice. He put it in there.
Right in.
That's Sam Haynes with his second goal of the night. Midland didn't pressure him. They let him get his hands free, and he just stepped up and ripped a shot. Was able to put it in.
Scored by number 21, Sam Haynes. Unassisted.
So the penalty is released, and we're back to even strength.
They're just the penalty was just over. Penalty stepped out. 23.
That's not uncommon for once the penalty is released, sometimes the defense kind of relaxes, thinking they're even, but they're not even yet until that player gets back on the field.
Back into the zone.
Yeah. In that case, I think it was probably just they were being a little bit lazy and not coming out to guard the guy, and he kind of surprised him by taking an outside shot. So Will Cooper was taking the face off, and he got the ground ball, and now he tried to pass it. It was a little bit wild, but thankfully for Midland, Ryder Zastra came up and picked up the ground ball. We have a flag down.
Yep.
Oh, so now that was a slow whistle, so they didn't blow the whistle. Oh, and it was right at the half as well. Until
right in the third.
In the third, sorry.
So we're gonna find out if they're gonna call the penalty then.
Yeah. Let's see what the call is. Probably a slash is my guess. Yep. Slash. On Lake Orion. So I think what's going to happen is that there won't be a face-off, and that Midland will just get possession to begin the fourth period because of that penalty that happened before the time expired.
Number 40.
So after 3 periods, Midland is leading Lake Orion 12-4.
And we had we had 6 goals in the third quarter alone. Started out with Lake Orion's Sam Haynes, number 21, at 10:51 score. Then at 7:01, Midland Lacrosse, Ryan Pomeranke scored. And then Ryan Stoudemire at 5:42 for Midland Lacrosse. At 4:13, Cal Stearns of Midland Lacrosse scores. 2:15 of the third quarter, Ryan Pomeranke again for his 4th goal. And then with 22 seconds, Sam Haynes of Lake Orion scores his 2nd goal of that quarter. That was almost what they call it's called a specific hat trick. They get 3 in 1 quarter, I think.
Okay, I'm not sure. I'm not aware of that one.
At least in hockey, they do. A natural. They call it a natural hat. A natural hat trick if you scored in one period. 3 goals. And then we had 1 penalty on Midland Lacrosse, and that was ended up being Watkins at 1:23 of the third quarter.
So because Lake Orion has a player in the penalty box to begin the period, this time, unlike the other periods, we will not begin with a face-off. Instead, Midland will take possession. Basically, when there's someone in the penalty box, whoever had possession gets possession, or in this case, because the penalty happened at the end of the quarter, Midland gets to start the quarter with possession. So Midland has a man-up opportunity for 1 minute to begin the fourth period. Working it around, moving the defense, getting the defense to shift, and a little bit wild pass there. That's a painful one to miss not man-up opportunity because of a bad pass. So Lake Orion's going to get possession. They're going to try to get it down the field. Once again, they're going in with that kind of check it down and hoping to get a ground ball. It's difficult to do. So Connor Dunlap picked up the ground ball, and now Midland's going to try to get it back down and salvage their man-up opportunity.
Set up the offense.
So that's Dawson Studebaker who carried it down, passed to Ryan Stoudemire. Studebaker stayed on the offensive end a little bit, but then now is coming back off as an LSM to get an offensive player on. Looks like the penalty's about to release. Midland took a shot.
Gain possession.
Yep, they retained possession. Ryan Pomeranke starting with the ball in the alley. Let's see, are we even? 1, 2, 3. Yep. We're back to even strength, 6-on-6, plus the goalie. Cal Stearns is dodging. Makes a pass to Stoudemire, who took a backhand shot, missed it. Ryder Zastra picked up a ground ball, tried to shoot, but the ball is loose on the ground. Will Cooper picked up the ground ball. They pulled it out to sell. We've got another flag down. It's going to be on Lake Orion. Now Midland's got it. Basically, this is sort of like a free possession because they know they're going to get the ball after this. So they can take their time and try to get a good shot. And the whistle won't blow, the penalty won't be enforced until the other team gets possession, like it's about to happen now. So Now that the offending team gets possession, the whistle's blown. It's going to be a slash again on Lake Orion. Another 1-minute penalty. So Midland, that was a failed man-up. The first one was a failed man-up opportunity for Midland, but now they're going to have another chance because of the next penalty.
Number 20.
Lake Orion penalty, number 20.
Reese Beach for the penalty of slashing.
Nice pass from Stoudemire. Oh, to Pomeranke. Across the crease, but Pomeranke was not able to put it in. Will Cooper backed it up, so Midland maintains possession. Working the ball around. I was about to say, I feel like this might be time for a Stearns fake pass. He did, but he didn't take the shot. You usually don't want to dodge on man up like he was.
Double dodge there?
Yeah, you usually don't want to dodge on man up. You want to pass the ball.
Find that open man.
Yeah.
Right there. Oh, he had back door. Ooh.
Cal was starting to cut when Ryan passed, but he was still able to maintain possession.
Right there, in the middle.
Wow,
Yes. Oh,
beautiful.
Yes.
Cal Stearns with the assist, Ryan Pomeranke with the goal. In that situation, it's a little bit more understandable that Lake Orion lost. We're not covering a guy because they were man down, but it's been a big problem they've had with leaving guys wide open and right in the goal scoring range.
Yeah, we both saw that one coming, didn't we?
Yeah, it was really nice. From,
Yeah.
from our viewpoint,
From our
we could really
yeah,
see.
We could say, hey,
Yeah.
here, he's coming in. Boom.
So that's the 5th goal for Ryan Pomeranke.
Yep. Yep, that's what I got too.
Aiden Wardell again with taking the face off against number 7, Jamison Ray. Oh, he didn't quite get to pick up the ground ball. It's still loose.
Scrum.
Pomeranke thought he had it, but he didn't stay down. We tell the kids to get low and get their stick down low to get that scoop, and Pomeranke was a little bit lazy there and didn't pick it up. Wow, ooh, I'm feeling like that's going to be a call. Nope.
A stick on the ground?
Well, no, Ryan Stoudemire got checked there, knocked to the ground, but I guess they considered it a legal check. Again, he went to the ground again, still legal. The goalie picks up the ground ball.
Long release.
But Ryder Zastro made a nice interception pass to Pomeranke, who couldn't quite catch it.
Getting a little feisty out there.
Yeah, it's a little bit back and forth. Neither team is doing a good job of possessing right now. Just kind of back and forth, wild.
Ooh.
But Lake Orion is able to now get a touch, get a successful clear. Looks like they've called timeout, their last timeout of the game.
Timeout, Lake Orion. Their second and final timeout.
So, production support for tonight's broadcast provided by the Midland Lacrosse and the Midland Public Schools. Would you or your organization like to learn how you can support MCTV volunteers on community productions like this one? Or want to become a volunteer yourself? Call MCTV at 989-837-3474 to get started. And after this one, probably 20 minutes after, they'll have the JV game between both squads.
That's correct. So Midland Lacrosse for Varsity's next game is tomorrow against Rockford. So they have 3. I mentioned that last night they defeated SVL rival Heritage. They're playing Lake Orion tonight, and then they have a game tomorrow against the strong Rockford team. So they have 3 games, 3 days in a row, which is a little bit unusual.
So, this one and the Rockford's one's non-league games, too.
That's correct.
And playing good teams, that's what he wants to play. What was the score last night's game, do you know?
It was not a close game. Yeah, I don't remember exactly, and don't really. Even if I did, I probably wouldn't want to say it because it wasn't very. It wasn't a very competitive game, but and so that's right. Like the level of play varies quite a bit with lacrosse around the state, and so it's often that many of the most competitive games that Midland plays are against teams from other parts of the
Grand Rapids, Detroit,
places
suburbs
that have more experience and more history with playing lacrosse. It's fairly new in our area. The teams are improving quite a bit. An important part of that is both now Bay City and Saginaw have youth clubs, and so that's a critical part of building your programs is to have players who've played from a young age and so are very more skilled than players who just start when they're in high school. So the overall play in our area is definitely improving and getting a lot better.
Oh, wide open.
Oh, nice save by the goalie. Ryan Stoudemire took a shot there around the crease, and the goalie was able to get back in position and make a save.
Yeah, most of the, I'm going to say, trip.
Yeah, it's going to be a trip on Midland.
Most of those teams down there probably have 15 to 20 years advantage over the teams up here, actually, they do. So you got 2 fouls maybe there?
Yeah, we're probably going to get a second penalty. Looks like the first one was definitely going to be a trip on Midland. Not sure about the second one yet. Be a 1-minute trip for the first penalty. Ref's trying to.
Oh, maybe it's
that
slash on.
That was the first one. That was the trip.
Okay.
This is going to be something more serious because he's giving the indication that it's going to be a full-time served.
Number 16 for Midland.
The second penalty, that was the trip, I think. The second penalty looks like it's on number 11, and it was a slash. And it's, I guess he hasn't gone to the table yet. I'm not sure what.
We have multiple penalties. First
Maybe,
for Midland,
maybe they were both on number 16.
No, number 4 is.
1 minute for tripping.
Yeah, and
oh, it was on Lake Orion.
Lake Orion.
Okay.
Yeah, I saw it at the end on the replay.
Sorry, I didn't
on the replay,
pay attention.
Yeah.
So, and I could tell from the refs.
I think it was a slash also.
Yeah, it was a slash, and it was a more serious slash because he called it. He did the signal that means that it's unreleasable, meaning that it doesn't matter if Midland scores, he'll still have to serve the full time.
The full time.
He has to serve the full time. It probably was a slash to the helmet, maybe, and so that kind of thing they will often make the penalty more severe.
So it'll be a minute also.
Yeah, so both teams will have a player in the box for probably a minute. I think that's what he indicated. So both teams will have a player in the penalty box for a minute. If Lake Orion scores, then Midland's will be released.
Right.
But if Midland scores, Lake Orion's player will still have to stay for the full time.
So will these be considered coincidental, and they'll still be playing 10 on 10?
They'll play 5 on 5.
5 on 5.
In this case.
Okay.
I think there is a situation like that when they literally
discussing it right now, maybe.
Well, when the penalties literally happen at the same time, like at that very same moment, then there is a special situation. But in this case, those penalties happen at very different times.
Right.
So they'll both serve them. It'll be 5 on 5, but I'm not sure what the discussion is here.
And what's the total minutes you can receive in a game?
Yeah, so there is kind of a fouling out, sort of like in basketball, for example. So again, they're making that signal for full time. So if you get 5 minutes of personal fouls, so the ones that are 1 minute or 2 minutes, then you're disqualified for the rest of the game. If the 30-second ones don't count towards that.
Okay.
And that doesn't happen very often, but sometimes it does, especially when a player, maybe gets a penalty for his mouth in addition to what he did. So Midland Midland has the ball. It was because the second penalty was on Lake Orion, and so I guess that's why Midland gets possession. Normally, I would think that would only happen if it was after if it was a dead ball foul. But anyway, Midland gets possession. They're playing 5 on 5, so both team is playing without a man.
Dodge and scores.
Yep. Does he stay out of the crease? Yep. So that was an unassisted goal by Ryan Stoudemire, his 5th. And so, but because the Lake Orion penalty was a full-time serve penalty, it's still going to be 5 versus 5.
But we wouldn't consider that a power play goal or a man up though, because they're still on for 5 on 5.
It was even strength.
Even strength.
Yeah.
They changing the keeper for Lake Orion.
Oh yeah, they're bringing in the backup keeper, looks like, to give him some experience. And they probably are thinking that this game is, though it's possible to score goals rapidly, they probably are thinking that this game may be out of contention and are giving a younger goalie some experience, perhaps.
Yeah, number 9, Brady Garrettson, who's a junior.
Oh, number 12 is taking the ball to the goal. Nice job, but he did good job by Tate Clerk to save it.
Nice save.
That's actually, the long poles don't shoot very often because it's, the long pole is awkward to shoot with. But when they do, it's hard for the goalie because the ball is coming out of that stick different.
Slower?
Well, no, not necessarily slower because
Well, I meant the motion.
The long poles can use that sort of what do you call it, the moment arm, the lever kind of thing. But because it's coming out at a different angle because of the long pole, the goalie it can be difficult for the goalie to adjust to it.
Timeout, Midland.
So Joe called a timeout for his squad.
Yep, timeout for Midland with approximately 6 minutes to go in the fourth period. Midland's got a pretty safe lead, I would say, at this point. I've noticed that they've been bringing in some of the players who don't typically get as much playing time in some of the more competitive games. They probably will continue to do that to give. Now that they have a somewhat comfortable lead, they'll probably give some other players more playing time than they necessarily would in a close game.
Well, plus, considering they got game again tomorrow, is Rockford.
That's a good point.
Got to keep them fresh.
That game is likely to be a very competitive game, and you want to not be exhausted before the game.
Yeah, because you got a night game going into an afternoon game.
That's right. So now Midland will start with the ball after the timeout. You're only allowed to call a timeout when you have possession of the ball or if it's a dead ball. Looks like Tucker Pomeranke, who is mostly a defensive midfielder, but he's going to play some offense here in this game now that they have a pretty solid lead, it looks like. He just passed to his brother, Ryan Pomeranke. Oh, a nice ground ball by number 3. That's Michael Cowell.
Well, there's all three of those were part of the Dow High hockey team. Cowell played defense on Kale. Played defense for the Chargers and both the Pomerankes.
So we have a penalty on Lake Orion. I believe it's on number 20. Yeah.
Yep, number 20.
I'm not sure what that, I can't remember now what that signal was. That it wasn't a slash, but it's.
Lake Orion penalty number 20.
Unnecessary roughness, so that was another type of penalty. So Midland will be man up. Oh, another no-look pass from Stoudemire to Pomeranke. He managed to stay out of the crease and
a man-up goal.
Yeah, man-up goal by Ryan Pomeranke, assisted by Ryan Stoudemire. Ryan to Ryan connection and two seniors has been a very good one tonight. So Midland is also making a goalie change. Scott Sommer, the backup goalie, is now coming in to finish out the game at goal. Tate Clerk did an excellent job in goal today.
Yeah, excellent.
He's getting a hug from Coach Stearns there, who has been a coach for these players, this current seniors for many years, all the way from youth lacrosse until now. He's the father of Cal Stearns, whose name we've called many times tonight. Aiden Wardell with the face-off win there. Passes to Ryan Pomeranke. Eddie McNallis, who's typically a defensive midfielder, is now coming on to play some offense. Sure hoping he'll get a chance to get a shot off sometime before the game ends. So Stoudemire tried to pass to Cooper, but it was a little bit high. But Midland was able to maintain possession. Now Stoudemire's dodging the pole, who was able to dislodge the ball. Before Stoudemire picked up the ground ball and is now attacking the goal. Roll back, he did a behind-the-back pass across the field, a little bit off, but Ryan Pomeranke was able to catch it. So it's not behind-the-back shots and passes are not completely, happen occasionally, but they're a little bit unusual.
Oh, nice ball.
Yep, Stoudemire passed to Tucker Pomeranke, who was
cutting through the middle there.
He did a great job of staying out of the crease, but wasn't able to put it in the goal. So Lake Orion gained possession, is now trying to clear. This is that same number 12 who took it to the goal earlier. Looks like, see if he's going to try it again. Yep, he's going again. See, this is going to get a hard shot off. Oh,
he misses.
Yep, I'd like to see those poles either go top shelf or hit a bouncer, but he was a little bit wide. He tried to sneak it in by the goalie side and went wide. Now Lake Orion dodging from X, gets the shot off. Nice save by Scott Sommer. Picked up, that's Kevin Trotter, I believe, number 24, yes, who picked up that ground ball, passed it ahead. But they failed on the clear, and Lake Orion now gets possession back and tries to clear it themselves. That's Sam Poupard there playing defense for Midland.
Just looks like Lake Orion's team is a little bit smaller than Midland's team is, size-wise.
Yeah, I think you're right. I read an article it was interviewing Coach Heber, and he was saying that they're a little bit younger and inexperienced this year compared to the teams that have made the finals the 2 previous seasons. But I think that's one of the things that Coach Hebert prides himself in is, like, making the most of the talent he has and really building up the players to kind of make the most of their potential. So I'm sure he's seeing it as a challenge to really raise the play of his players.
Well, sometimes that's when the best coaching happens.
Exactly. So
it's not the team that takes you all the way. It's a team that you have to build from. Oh, there's an errant pass.
Yep, got that pass a little bit high. So there was a nice check by Lake Orion to dislodge the ball and get possession. They brought it down, but again, they were not very careful with the ball and overthrew it.
Sometimes the records don't give the coaches enough credit on how well they actually coach the team sometimes.
So we're a little bit less than 3 minutes remaining in the game. Midland's going to try to clear. So that was Eddie McNellis who passed to number 22. That's Carter Purvis with the long pole. But once again, where they were unable to successfully clear, and Lake Orion's attacking the goal now, number 38. That's C.J. Witt. So you notice that the goalie there tried to chase the ball, out of bounds, hoping he would be closest, and so that Midland could get possession. But the refs deemed that actually Lake Orion was closest to the ball, so Lake Orion was able to maintain possession.
Is it the body or the stick?
It's the body. So there's a nice goal. Is that number 39 or 38? Maybe we can see on the replay. If you turn around, I think it's 39. It looked like 39. So I think that was Cole Groen who got that goal. He's dodging there against, that's Gavin Painter, who was guarding him. Gavin did a good job of lifting his stick there on the shot, but nevertheless, Cole Groen from Lake Orion was able to get the shot off and put it in. So that was a nice offensive play there by Cole. Brings the score to 15-5 with a little more than 2 minutes left to go. Again, Aiden Wardell is facing off against Jamison Ray.
Can you kick the ball?
Yes, you're allowed to kick the ball. You're not allowed to kick the other player's stick. So sometimes it'll happen that a player will try to kick the ball accidentally.
Inadvertently.
Exactly, and the ref will call him on it. He'll say that's a violation and give the ball to the other team. But you are allowed to kick the ball. That looked like a little bit of a war. Yep, they called it, I think. Or did they call a timeout? No, they called a timeout. So I thought what they were going to call there was that it looked like Ryan Pomeranke kind of pushed off with his free hand. You're not allowed. It's called playing with a free hand. You're not. You can have your hand up there to kind of like protect, but you can't move the other player. You can't push with it. Maybe Joe had a fortuitous timeout there that he called to prevent that. I don't know, but it looked like it could have been a violation there against Midland.
So it doesn't seem like there's a lot of specific fouls besides slashing. You don't see much like the unsportsmanlike conduct. There wouldn't seem like there's that.
Well, it's not unusual to see that, but these two teams today are playing in such a way that we're not seeing it. So you're right that the most common fouls are the push. So like
from behind.
Yeah, and so if the player has possession of the ball when he's pushed, then that's a penalty. That actually serves time. You have lots of slashes. You'll have sometimes an illegal body check, or like we had earlier, the unnecessary roughness. But those are.
Do you have had any cross checks?
You're right. There haven't been cross checks. That's a little bit interesting because the rules have changed in recent years so that you're allowed to do some things related to the cross check that you weren't allowed to do previously, but you do still see cross checks called if you come up. You're supposed to basically have even pressure.
Right.
And so if somebody comes up, yeah, in the past you had to have your hands together. Now you don't necessarily have to have your hands together on the stick, but you can't be like pushing through the guy. At least technically, you're supposed to just kind of have even pressure to hold him. And so if you kind of run up to a guy and push him over like that, that's when they'll call a cross check.
Down under 2 minutes.
Yeah, so this is a situation where if the game was within 4 goals or less, they would say keep it in, and so Midland would have to keep it within that offensive zone for the rest of the time, and so that would give the defense a better opportunity to try to take the ball away as well as push them out of the box and get possession. But because the lead is greater than 4, Midland is able to take the ball anywhere they have on the offensive side, so they're kind of just passing the ball around.
Do a Bobby Knight 4 corners.
Yeah, sort of like that, just kind of running the rest of the clock out there. I won't be surprised if they eventually do attack the goal because, like I say, there are several players out there who don't typically get a lot of offensive playing time, and so they're probably going to want to try to practice that a little bit here. But they're obviously not trying to aggressively attack the goal very much because they have a good solid lead and mostly just want to finish the game
Lost
out.
the ball there.
Yep. Picked up a ground ball by Lake Orion, and the goalie is now going to clear. You know, when the goalie has possession of the ball in the crease, you're not allowed to reach your stick in and interfere with it or anything like that.
Like he just did.
Well, he did it outside the crease, but
Okay.
if he had made contact with the goalie's stick, it would have been a free clear. Basically, they would have been able to bring the ball. He was just trying to intercept it out of the air, which is not going to happen very often. Nice shot there by number 16. That's Giorgio Ruffini.
Lake Orion remain possession of the ball.
Number 39, Cole Groen was dodging there. Pass back to. Now we have number 40, Braden Brown, dodging down the alley. When you dodge down the side like that, that's called dodging down the alley. His shot was a little bit outside the goal. Now the goalie, Scott Summers, picked it up, and he's going to walk down the field looking for someone to pass to.
He's just going to hold on to the ball.
Yeah, he's got 20 seconds to get across midfield, which is more than the time remaining. So he's just
right, there we go.
So that's the end of the game. Midland Lacrosse got a good win, 15-5 over Lake Orion.
A little update on the scores in the fourth quarter. At 9:23, Ryan Pomeranke scored for Midland Lacrosse as a man up. And then at 6:59 of the fourth quarter, Ryan Stoudemire scored his 5th goal for Midland Lacrosse. Then at 5:44, Ryan Pomeranke scored his 6th goal for Midland Lacrosse as a man up again. And last goal of the contest was scored by Cole Groen of Lake Orion at 2:22 of the fourth quarter.
So I think that was a good showing by Midland there. It's definitely a tough opponent that may be down a little bit this year, but still is a strong lacrosse program. So I'm sure Coach Stoudemire definitely saw some things that he can improve and his team can improve on and fix, but overall is going to be happy with their performance tonight. They seem to kind of figure out how to be more successful in the clears, and were able to kind of fix that problem that they had early on, and then were very effective and efficient in scoring goals.
I think we had a very strong showing by the goalkeeper.
Yeah, Tate Clark did an excellent job.
Meant he had a lot of saves. So,
as I mentioned, Midland will be playing again tomorrow afternoon against Rockford.
all right, we'd like to thank the sponsors for tonight, the Midland Lacrosse and the Midland Public Schools, for help tonight's broadcast provided by them. And
Hope you've enjoyed this. If you're not familiar with lacrosse, that you had a good experience, learned a little bit about it. I think we certainly had a good time watching the game together. Chatting as well.
This is my first official lacrosse game I've ever seen or been to. So yeah, I enjoyed it.
I'm certain you're going to fall in love with it because that's what I did when I first started watching it. So
the same thing with me for soccer.
So thank you, and I hope you enjoyed the broadcast, and we'll sign off for now.
All right.